To the cloud. Hello, friends. You are in the Laban Lab, and here are some platonic solids. It's really hard to, here we go. Let's do it like that. Yeah, and we're going to work on the cube today. And I'm in a Zoom room with at least one other person. If you ever want to be in this room, please reach out to me and you can come to class. So we're going to start. We in this room just did a whole session. The role play session was on core distal relationship. I highly recommend you check that out. It is role play core distal. I'll put it up online. We also did some sounding. So I'm going to start seated and I'm just going to conceptualize the cube. So here's a cube. It's a platonic solid. Oops, let's put it so that the one is facing up. Right now, that one in the middle is in the horizontal, sorry, the vertical dimension. But when we have the whole cube, that is the vertical plane. If I turn this way, the one is in the horizontal dimension. If I put it this way, the one is going forward backward. It's in the sagittal dimension. The cube has all three dimensions in equal parts. So let's just imagine for a second that we're in a cube. And you can start to find your cube in, like, if you're in a square boxy room, then you are in a cube. Kitty! Oh, we got a double kitty, a black kitty in the other room and a white kitty in this room. Um, there's some kind of strange balance happening in the world right now. So we're going to reach into finding the four corners in the front of the cube, like, and you can find the edges. Like if you were drawing the cube around yourself, where would those faces of the cube be? So let's say you're facing a face. There's a face in front of you, to the sides, up and down, and one to the back. There's a cat in your cube. So you have these forward high points, forward low points, backward low points, backward high points. So we want to find those points in our cube, all the possibilities of these points, and the faces. There are 6 faces and 8 points. So I'm just hitting these points, and I'll do it this way. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the chair. It'll make it easier. We're gonna stand in a minute and do all this just for the beginning, just to conceptualize the cube. We're starting seated. So let's find our right forward high point, and then our left forward high point, our right forward low point, and our left forward low point, and then our right back high point. And we want to have even distribution. So I'm going as much up as I am to the side as I am back. So it's like this perfect three-dimensional pull. And actually, as I do that, I've got my hand on my knees for this counter tension. I feel this very different relationship in my body back there. Very interesting. And let's do it the same thing on the other side. So left back high, evenly behind, evenly to the side, and evenly back. 3 equal spatial pulls. And then I'm going to go to my right back low. And I'm using this counter tension here to help me balance, which is really fun. And then left back low. Again, finding that counter tension to balance, or I could be there. And then I'm showing this diagonal. So we talk about the diagonals as being these internal scaffoldings inside the cube. So if I take one hand to right forward high and my other hand to left back low, I can travel along that diagonal, right forward high to left back low, right forward high. And you can feel as you're moving, just feeling how that moves through your torso. It's different than going forward middle to backward middle, right? Here I'm in the cube, right forward high to left back low. Here, forward middle to backward middle, I'm in the octahedron. So we just have these different relationships of how that moves through your tissue. Try the same thing on the other diagonal. Left forward high to right back low. And I'm doing these with both sides of my body right now. Eventually we'll get to do them with just one side of your body the whole way around. Yeah, finding that. And then let's go from right forward low to left back high, finding that and moving along that diagonal. What is that like to move that diagonal? I like the way it feels for me in my chest spiraling out and open. And then the same thing with the other one, right forward low to left back high. Sorry, left forward low to right back high. I have to do my opposite so that it makes sense for you. So finding that diagonal, taking it down. And I feel like for me, going down into that low forward and to the side, that left forward low or right forward low, for me, there's something very like, oh, my love, something very caring. I don't know why, about taking it down to that space. So you'll find that in your areas, like you're going to have different relationships with when I'm here. Oh, I'm speaking to the king and queen. Over there, it's the duke. I mean, this is all very aristocratic stuff that I'm saying. It could be totally different, but I mean, it feels like that. Oh, I'm looking at the loge in the theater. Like they have different feelings. What's back there? Oh, I might want to shove something back there and hide it away back to that low corner. Oh, this is what you're not going to see. This is for me. Your personal choices in there may be totally different. I'm like, what's down back here? Don't look at this. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Whatever it is. So now we have been in these open positions going to those points. Let's try crossing. So we can take it to right forward high, and then let's try left forward high, just crossing. Right forward high, left forward high, right forward low, left forward low. And so if I was standing up and doing this, I would be crossing my legs as well as my arms. So let's try that. So it can be easy. I can go right forward high, and then left forward high, right forward low, and then left forward low. And now as I'm in this crossed position, taking it down to that space, it feels very different than being in this open position, taking it down to that space. So just feeling like, what does that space hold for you? Like, oh, there's still a similar feeling for it, but it's different with this crossed body. All right, so let's cross to the back. So we're going to go, these are going to be interesting. Let's go low first. So let's go to right back low. Oh, you're going to cross your leg to the back, actually. Right back low. So now bring your feet slightly forward and cross to the back every time you go back. It makes it easier if you cross the arm and the leg the same way, even though we're actually not crossing behind. We will in a minute. We'll try that in a minute. But just feeling, oh, and feel how much of a spiral you're getting in your body. How far off center can you go down there? 3 dimensions. Now let's try the high points. So the same thing, we're going to cross back, right back high, come in, other side, left back high, coming in. And as I'm saying right or left, I'm not talking about which body part, my right hand or my left hand. I'm talking about the space I'm moving into. So this is just a very different way of approaching the cube than we would if we were just coming straight through the way that I studied in the Laban program. Like we're really starting to just feel into the shapes of the cube before we throw in the whole scale that's going to go in the cube. So let's hit the points on top with our right hand. So we're going to hit right forward high, then we're going to cross to left forward high, left back high, right back high. Going around one more time. Right forward high, left forward high, right back high, sorry, left back high, right back high. Same thing on the other side. Left forward high, right forward high, left back high, right back high, left back high. As you know, I am actually saying not my hand each time, which makes it even more weird for me. But I don't know my right from my left anyway, so it doesn't make that big of a difference to change it. Left forward high. Crossing over to right forward high, taking it to the back, right back high, to left back high. Yeah, so those are those high points. Now, if we go around the bottom, let's try it with the bottom. Let's go to right forward low, left forward low, left back low, right back low, right forward low, left forward low, either adding the feet or not, left back low, right back low. Same thing on the other side. Left forward low, right forward low, right back low, left back low, left forward low, right forward low, right back low, left back low. So we've hit this stuff all with one hand, the other hand. Now we're gonna actually, let's do the scale. Let's do it standing up. Let's bring it up into standing. Make it easier so we are no longer on our butts on the floor. So teaching you this cube scale, we're going to imagine that we're the center. So as we're reaching out, we're always in this version of doing the scale, we're going to come back to center every time. I feel like it's a lot easier to learn it that way. Later on, we'll travel around the periphery, but for today, we're going to go central pathways. So we're going to start in our center and we're going to travel to right forward high. So let me move back a little bit and let me move my camera down a little bit. There we go. So we're going to go right forward high, and we're going to cross to the exact opposite diagonal down there, crossing back, left back low. We're going to come into center. Now we're going to cross our body, left forward high, taking it down to right back low, right into the cat tower. We're going to come in, take it around to the back. I am going left back high to right forward low, and then right back high, aha, to left forward low. So that's the whole scale. That's the scale one time through. And this is called the diagonal scale because in Laban, when we're talking about something that's moving through the center of the cube, we call that a diagonal. That's the language in the system. It could be different if we were just speaking English. A diagonal might be different and used for other things, but in Laban language, this means the inner scaffolding from one corner to a directly opposite corner in the cube. It has 3 equal spatial poles. Let's try it again. We're going to go right forward high, crossing to left back low, the exact opposite position. We come in and we go left forward high, yep, and we're going to take it down to the exact opposite to right back low. We're going to take it around to the back, left back high, and open to right forward low, and then right back high to left forward low. Yeah, and coming in. Let's do that side one more time and then we'll flip it to the other side. So I'll just give you a little bit of more information of how we decide where we're going. The cube is going to always start open and it's going to go to the exact opposite direction. So it starts in a high point open, goes to the exact opposite open. So that's 1, 2. The next high point is going to cross your body and open, and then it keeps going around. So when we first did just the top points, if you know that it starts open and crosses, then you can go to the exact opposite point every time. So we have right forward high to left back low. Then we cross left forward high to right back low. Left back high to right forward low. Right back high to left forward low. Nice. That looks awesome. Okay, let's switch it to the other side. So now we're going to start here, which is going to be left forward high again, and we're going to go to the exact opposite. Then we're going to cross exact opposite, continuing around exact opposite, and then open. So it's going like this over our head, and then it goes into the exact opposite direction. So our first position is open. Left forward high, crossing to right back low. We come in. Right forward high, all the way to the opposite, left back low. Right back high, big spiral. We want to really twist. So it's easy just to get to the side there, but get it behind you as well. 2, right, left forward low. Left back high, 2, right forward low. Yeah, nice. So left forward high, crossing to the opposite, right back low. Right forward high, left back low. Right back high, left forward low. Left back high, sorry, right back high, left forward low. Yeah, it's when I get into my own body for a second, I say the wrong thing. 1 sip of water. So as we're doing this, when we get all of this really 3-dimensional movement in our body, we are hydrating our joints and we're hydrating our fascia. And we're also balancing out our body. So we're balancing upper versus lower, we're balancing right versus left, and we're balancing forward versus back, reaching into all these diagonals. So this has an effect on our nervous system that is good. We're toning our nervous system as well as our fascia. Mm. Letting that land. And let's go back to the left side one more time. So we're going to take left forward high, crossing to right back low. 3 equal spatial pulls. Right forward high to left back low. Right back high. Left forward low. Left back high. Right forward low. Good. How's it feel in there? Does it feel like you're starting? Yeah? Let's do that side one more time. Left forward high. Yeah, it starts open. Always will start open. Think of it like this, like if you see your friend, hi, this is like a more common move than that. So in most of these things, we're going to start in an open position. Yeah. Left forward high. 2, crossing. 3 equal spatial pulls. Right back low. Coming in. 3 equal spatial pulls. Right forward high. 2, left back low. And I'm adding this other arm as a counterbalance. I said, wait, right back high. I might have said the wrong thing that last time. 2, left forward low. Left back high. Again, counterbalance. 2, right forward low. Yeah. So we can feel like the sort of three-dimensionality of our whole body as we're radiating out in these ways. It's still kind of linear movement because we're moving on these straight lines. We could also like move in different ways to get up there. Like I can take it up there in this sort of meandering pathway. Let's do meandering pathways the whole way around. This type of meandering is called floating. And it's going up, it's opening, and it's moving forward. So if we were to connect the affinities of Laban effort to this, we're going to go up with lightweight, we're going to go forward with sustained time, slowing down, and we're going to be opening indirect. So we're not pinpointed, we are kind of more expansive and global in our focus. So that is a float. We're going to float up to that. And that is the affinity of effort with but I'm going to float the whole way around the cube. So we're going to float in each direction and we're going to feel if one of these floats feel the best. So indirect, light, and sustain, slowing down, float. Now we're going to go the exact opposite and we're going to try and float our way down. How do we float? Light, indirect, and sustained. Down to that opposite corner. Sustain means we're slowing down. We're going to come in and float up to the next corner. Right forward high. And we're going to see if we can keep floating. Float, 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 down to left back low. We are going to float to right back high. Float, 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 float. And we are going to keep floating, which is really fun and weird because normally it would be totally different. And we're going to come back in and we're going to float one more time. Float, 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 float. To this open position and we're going to cross down. Float, 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 float. So just out of curiosity, like how is that feeling in your body? Like just feel the difference also between your right and your left, right? Oh, so we did that. That was actually on my right, but it would have been on your left. Just feeling the difference between the two sides. You were in this really indirect, light, floaty business, which is effort quality. Let's do it on the other side. So this position up here is the float of the cube. It's where, if we were doing the cube with all the efforts, it would be float, punch, glide, slash, dab, ring, flick, press. But we're just trying to do the whole cube with float, which for some people is going to be total heaven, and other people it's going to be total hell. And then for a few people, it'll be kind of like, I don't know. You may be uncertain. All right, let's try floating up to right forward high. Float, float, float. Light, sustained, and indirect. And then we're going to keep floating down to the exact opposite direct diagonal. How do we float down to left back low? Not very easily. Then we're going to come in and we're going to float up to left forward high, floating, floating, floating. And we're going to keep floating all the way down to right back low. Floaty, float, float. How does it feel to stay floaty? This is maybe great for air people, but if you're direct, it's very challenging. Floating to left back high, float, 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 and floating to right forward low. Float, float, light. I may or may not be doing a very good job of this, but that's okay. It's all just about playing. And then we're going to take it to the open, float to right back high, float, 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 and go to the exact opposite, floating down. Yes, the effort challenge. How'd that feel, Maria? We're going to punch it all in a minute. Okay, let's do it with punches now. So in the cube with efforts, I made you just float the whole way around, which is kind of insane, but hey, why not? I'm in the room with another playful person who's up for it. So now we're going to punch the whole way around. So punching, we're going to go strong, direct, and quick. So we're going to punch to, let's do this side first. Punch, right forward high, punch, left back low. Punch, left forward high, punch, right back low. Punch, oh, right back high, no, left back high, punch, right, right forward low, punch, right back high, punch, left forward low. Let's try it on the other side. This is very funny. It feels really weird. I'll just tell you what a punch is. A punch is strong weight, direct space, and quick time. So it's the exact opposite of that float. And normally we would float, punch, right? So that would be working with the affinities. But now we're just going crazy and making this a little bit more entertaining and learning in a different way. So punching the whole way around the cube, punch out those corners. First one, we are going to left forward high, punch, to right back low, punch. That is the real punch place for real. So that should have felt pretty good. Now we're going to punch right forward high, to left back low. And now we're going to punch right back high, to left forward low. And we're going to punch left back high, to right forward low. It feels really funny to do that, but it's just throwing in effort elements that for my people haven't learned all this stuff. Here's a group of a ton of efforts shoved together and put into the wrong places in the cube. So now that we've played with those different ways of going through the cube with effort, I think I'm going to teach you how to do the cube with the affinities of effort. So we're going to do the real things now that you've done some disaffinities. So this is the float diagonal, and this is just interlacing. And affinity, it means it is most likely something. It doesn't mean it has to be something. So there's affinities and disaffinities. Like me punching up here, that's a disaffinity. It's most likely things aren't going to punch up. Most likely things going up are going to be light. Most likely things opening out are going to be indirect. Most likely things going forward are going to be slowing down. So this is just movement affinities. They may or may not happen. All right, so we're floating up. Float, 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 float. And we're going to go to the opposite. Yes, punch, punch down. Now we're going to glide. So this is like we're going on a straight track. Light, direct, and sustained. And we're going to slash to the back. Strong, direct, and indirect, and quick. So it's a slash like your, what is it? Got your machete. Cha. Then we're going to dab to the back like a little boop, a little dab of paint. Direct, light, and quick. And then we're going to move forward with a ring down to this opposite diagonal. It's strong, it's indirect, and it's sustained. We're going to take our last one. It's open, so it's indirect. Flick. It's quick. Boop. And it is light. Flick. And then we're going to cross it down with a press. Strong, direct, and sustained. And then we've come all the way through with all the effort qualities. And whether or not you know effort, these are just little sprinklings. We can think of effort as sort of the dynamics of the movement. And generally, like if you're watching someone move, Whenever there are shifts in effort, it becomes very interesting. Like quick time is going to draw the eye, or sustained time, slowing down, is going to give us another feeling. Pinpointed, direct, boom, 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 or indirect, taking in the whole space around us. And then lightweight, strong weight. Let's try it on the other side. So we're going to float, float, and punch. Boom. Then we're going to come in, glide, light, direct, and sustained, and slash. Quick, indirect, and strong weight. We're going to take it to the back. A little dab, direct, light, and quick. Into indirect, strong, and sustained. And then we're going to take it back, flick, indirect, light, and quick, into press, direct, strong, and sustained. Yeah, so that's the cube with effort. We could do all those movements as we did. They could go anywhere. Like I could punch all over, I can float all over, I can glide all over. So glide is going to be direct. It's so interesting when I start to glide how it just changes my feeling. I can poke, 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 poke. I can dab, 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 or I can flick, 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 flick. Just feeling the difference between those moves. Since we did this core distal in the role play, if you go back and do that, thinking of how do our hands move? This relationship, like very fine, pinpointed, or flicky. These are just different ways that effort can show up in our body. And they're going to affect our nervous system differently, right? As soon as I go into a sustained press, that's going to have a completely different grounding energy than a flicky, blip, 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 blip. And maybe I need to get rid of some of my energy, flip, 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 and then come down into like this sustained, strong, and direct. Then I can do it in any direction. Boom. As soon as I do that, I'm like, I feel myself grounding. It's almost like I'm going into a horse stance and ground, coming into the ground, feeling connected to the earth. Or all over here, totally different effort life, right? Yes. How does that feel? Oh, and here I've got some free flow going on, like a little kid running around a playground. Or boo, bound flow, very adult-like. It doesn't mean that I couldn't. It's hard to be in bound flow with flicking and when there's a freedom to it, but maybe it could happen. All right, so that's a ton of effort, a lot of thinking on it, a bunch of cubing, and I am going to stop recording and have a private conversation with the people in the room about whatever that came up for them. So if you have come this far, please like and subscribe. Consider supporting me on Patreon or a one-time donation on PayPal. All of that information is below. Thank you for joining and playing. Ciao.